Good evening, I'm Duncan Golestani. Just over a week ago, a father was killed outside his house in Chingford, believed to be defending his daughter. Today, the suspect charged with murdering James Markham appeared in court. He's 14 years old. Sam Holder reports.
James Markham died, police believe, after defending his daughter, stabbed outside their home. He went out to his shed at 6 p.m. on August the 9th. Just over an hour later, he was pronounced dead. Police believe he confronted a group of teenagers who'd been verbally abusing his daughter and her friend. The 45-year-old was stabbed twice, once under his armpit and once in his neck. Today, a boy aged just 14 appeared by video link at the Old Bailey, charged with murder. He's due to reappear on November the 2nd. And another boy who was arrested on suspicion of conspiracy to murder has been released under investigation. He's also just 14 years old. Also arrested and released under investigation, a 16-year-old girl accused of assisting an offender. The circumstances of James Markham's death, believed to have been protecting his own child outside his own home on Churchill Terrace in Chingford, and the ages of those allegedly involved, has left an entire community reeling in disbelief, scared for their safety and the safety of their children. Sam Holder, ITV News.
A teenage drug dealer has been jailed for life along with two other men for the murder of a rival just hours after he disposed of another body at a West London nature reserve. Amika Dawodu, Simon Emmons and Zamil Dubé stabbed 35-year-old Abrima Cham to death in Hounslow in December 2019. The court heard how earlier the same day Dawodu and three members of his drugs gang had disposed of the body of jazz musician William Algar on Hounslow Heath. Police have released a CCTV image of a man they would like to identify after a woman was sexually assaulted on a bus in Kingston. The 21-year-old victim boarded the 418 bus heading towards Epsom. A man then sat next to her and began touching her inappropriately. Another passenger informed the bus driver, who removed the suspect from the vehicle. Barrister Cherie Blair is backing a campaign to get the gentlemen-only Garrick Club in the West End to admit women for the first time in its 190-year history. The wife of the former Prime Minister was refused entry in 1976, while husband Tony was allowed inside. More than 300 lawyers, including Mrs Blair, have now signed the petition.
They provide a place where people can network, where people can be given mentoring, where people can make connections. That's why people join the clubs. And if they are excluding women from those experiences, then they're excluding women from making the kind of connections and networks and mentoring that help them progress their careers.
Good evening.
Next, the symptoms we normally associate with Parkinson's disease, the tremors and stiffness, make the illness seem incompatible with being an artist. But Paul Nicholls from Clacton has not only developed his passion for drawing, his creations will now be showcased at a special exhibition at the Oxo Gallery. Rags Martell has been to meet him.
Welcome to the world of Parkinson's art. All creations here come from the minds of artists with the disease. Paul Nicholls turned to painting just a year ago.
Well, this is called Andrew. I have no idea what we call him Andrew, but that's his name. And the idea of Andrew is to depict the warrior, because everyone with Parkinson's is a warrior. We're all struggling against the condition. His head is a warrior, because that's what we are, warriors. But his hands have got boxing gloves on, because when you've got Parkinson's, it's very difficult to do small tasks.
At the Oxo Gallery on the South Bank, 60 artists are displaying their work. A project founded by Trevor Woolard.
I've been living with Parkinson's for 10 years. And the aim of Parkinson's art, really, we set up a year ago to provide the benefits of art to people with Parkinson's. It gives them a voice to really articulate and express themselves through the art, because one of the symptoms of Parkinson's is the conflict thinking, so it makes it difficult to communicate. So that art allows that medium to share art.
Good evening and welcome to the BBC News.
The tremors as they progress. But what we tend to find is that people adapt their artwork. So instead of doing fine art, they move towards abstract and more kind of broad brush. It's a different style of art as opposed to not making it more difficult.
Paul credits his new creative streak thanks to brain surgery he had just 12 months ago.
2016 I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, but my condition was getting worse and worse and worse, and I was really fortunate last year to be given the opportunity to have deep brain stimulus at Queen's Hospital. So whilst you're awake in this surgery, they drill 2 holes deep into your head and they put some wires down into it and they connect it to like a pacemaker into your chest. Basically, it's transformed my life for the better.
Do you think you wouldn't have been able to do this piece of art without the operation?
I couldn't be here. I couldn't come to London. I couldn't cope with the crowds. I couldn't cope walking these distances. But since my operation, I'm almost back to normal. But Parkinson's was never the end. Parkinson's was always just the beginning with me. So that's why I hope it's going to go now.
So more art on the way?
Yeah, definitely. I love it. It's fantastic. And I'd encourage anybody with Parkinson's just to give it a go. Pick up a pencil, just start drawing, because you never know, you could be the Oxo next year.
The exhibition of all the Parkinson's artists is called Vivid Dreams and opens at the Oxo Gallery tomorrow. Max Martel, ITV News on the South Bank.
Sophie Christensen has dominated the equestrian events at the last 3 Paralympic Games with no less than 8 gold medals to her name. She had high hopes for more success in Tokyo next week, but has been left heartbroken after being forced to pull out. Chloe Keedy reports.
Sophie Christensen's smile said it all.
I actually haven't looked at this in a while.
She came home from the Rio Paralympics with 3 gold medals and had hoped to do it all again in Tokyo. But that dream came to an abrupt end last week when Sophie and her coach Anna made the difficult decision to withdraw.
We wouldn't have performed at our best.
Sophie's horse Louis has what she describes as a minor medical issue, but one that's enough to stop both of them making the journey to Japan.
It was absolutely heartbreaking, to be honest. I worked so hard, as to every athlete, but that's a reality of equestrian sport. When you're working with another athlete, another animal, anything can happen.
Doing the sport she loves costs Sophie around £3,000 a month, and she says competing at such a high level also takes its toll on her mental health.
Within the last few months, I've had quite severe depression, pushing towards that high of potentially winning a gold medal. And I think the more we talk about it, the more the public kind of can realise what we put ourselves through to win gold.
Sophie's 3 gold medals in Rio took her total to a whopping 8. She toyed with the idea of retiring and decided against it, but it took 4 years to find another horse she felt happy to compete with. Now Sophie will have to start that process all over again, because she's already got her sights set on Paris in 3 years' time.
For me, I'm riding better. I'm fitter than I ever have been before. I just need to find the right horse.
Sophie won't be going to Paris with Louis, but says she will be going once again for gold. Chloe Keedy, ITV News.
And finally, it isn't the most conventional way to train for a long-distance swim, but during lockdown, a woman from Surrey had to think outside the box. Lucy Ashdown Parks dunked herself in a wheelie bin full of ice every day. She's now completed the swim from Northern Ireland to Scotland, only the 34th woman ever to do so. On to the weather now, here's Amanda.
Making the most of it, whatever the weather. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Hello and a very good evening to you. So the weather picture for the next few days is a fairly changeable one for us. So we're still going to see quite a bit of cloud across the capital, and at times there will be a few showers around, especially on Thursday. And at this stage it's looking brighter and warmer on Friday. That's before the unsettled weather returns for the weekend. Now, in the meantime, for the rest of tonight, generally fairly quiet out there, but we do have a lot of cloud around, and it is producing a few spots of light rain and drizzle in places, and it is mild too, temperatures between 14 and 16 degrees. So that means for tomorrow morning it's going to be quite a grey, slow start to the day first thing, with a few splashes of light rain around, but for most of us a good deal of dry weather as we go into the afternoon, although we do hold on to a lot of cloud, but at times there will be a few bright or sunny spells. And if you get the sunshine tomorrow, not feeling too bad. We've got lighter winds compared to earlier on today, so highs there of 22 or 23 degrees will feel quite pleasant. And looking ahead, well, some showers arriving later on Thursday, drier and brighter on Friday. Bye-bye.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
And that's it. We'll do it all again tomorrow from 6 a.m. For now, though, good night.